Hello everyone, this is ACHAI Kaya, and this is a 1v1 on Blistering Sands. And it looks like we are going to be seeing a game right here between mouzStrelok and ZoulTX. And it looks like we are going to see mouzStrelok playing as the red Terran in the lower left here. And in the upper right is ZoulTX playing as the Zerg player. And of course, I've mentioned it before, I am a Zerg player myself. So despite the fact that I personally don't know a whole lot about this guy, I am going to be rooting for him. But anyways, trying to stay somewhat impartial, I suppose, for the cast at least. There is a Scouting Overlord, though, going out at first. Just for anybody that's still new to the game, if you're Zerg, sending out that initial Scouting Overlord is definitely a good idea. You can get a little bit of intel on the map. I know that's an incredibly noob tactic thing to say, but I'm aware that because StarCraft 2 is still relatively new, there's probably a lot of people out there who are still unfamiliar with the game. But anyways, it looks like Strelok is going to be putting the supply depot up at his entrance right now, which of course this ramp is very narrow. You can block it off easily with either 3 supply depots or 2 supply depots and a barracks. So we'll see exactly what he tries to use to block this off. And an early scouting drone actually going out here as well, scouting on 10 it looks like, for ZoulTX. So he is going to try to sneak a drone into Strelok's base before he finishes the wall off. And as you can see, the barracks is going up here at the ramp and going to try to get up a supply depot here real quick too. Possibly no, he is sending that SCV out to scout. So this drone will make it up into the base and get the scouting done as much as possible. And that drone actually going to be doing a little bit of damage on that SCV that's trying to put up the barracks right now. Although it looks like another SCV coming up from Strelok going to be able to push that drone away, and the drone is going to be forced to move back into the Terran base and do a little bit of scouting here. But of course the SCV from Strelok moving into the Zerg player's base at this point, checking to see if there is a fast expo up and running, which of course there is not. But we do have a spawning pool going down right now, so it looks like we are going to see a somewhat early pool. And this is actually something similar that I've seen Hydra do on a lot of games, at least as far as I can tell right now. Hydra typically likes to go for it, at least from the games I've seen personally. Unfortunately, there's not a whole lot of replays out there with Hydra playing just yet, but it looks like he likes to get his spawning pool around 14 or 15 and then get his expo around 15 or 16. He's a very macro-oriented player, but of course getting that first spawning pool up and running does allow him to have the early Zerglings for defensive position if he needs them. But of course it looks like we do see a gas steal from ZoulTX, which is going to not only block Strelok from getting his gas up and running early, but it also lets ZoulTX keep that scouting drone alive a lot longer. And as you can see, they're just barely canceling it before they were able to, before it finished, so that way he could start it again and keep that drone in there as long as possible. And it looks like we got some Zerglings coming out here right now. You can see just scanning a little bit behind the mineral line at the Natural Expo, making sure there's no crazy proxy buildings or anything like that, although there is one Reaper out on the map already, and without the speed upgrade, these Zerglings are going to have a very difficult time dealing with this Reaper, because Reapers do a lot of damage to Zerglings. They are light damage, and as you can see, they do 30 damage with the DC charge against the buildings, but against light units they do 9 damage as opposed to their typical 4 damage for most units. And with the Zerglings only having 35 HP, that 9 damage adds up very, very quickly. So it looks like there is another Reaper coming into play here too. So 2 of these Reapers are going to definitely help him out, although with the speed upgrade for the Zerglings, it looks like he is going to be able to hold this off relatively simply now. But there is a Roach Warren going up and running as well, which Roaches are extremely good against most infantry. They're not that great against Marauders, but they are good against just about everything else, and it looks like ZoulTX actually forgot to cancel his extractor one of these times. So he is going to lose that 25 gas and the 50 for the drone that was on there. But he does manage to keep a few of the early units from Strelok in his base, and of course going to get a little bit of intel as far as what Strelok has, because he does see the Marauders and the Marines on this extractor just pounding away at it, and it looks like that is going to go down very quickly here. And these 5 Zerglings just running across the map here, trying to get control of these Zelnaga towers and take on these Reapers. But these Reapers just being controlled very well by Strelok, not even losing one Reaper, although it looks like one is getting pretty low on health. But he's managing to hold this off very easily so far, although these Reapers are going to be no match for these Roaches. So these Roaches are going to manage to push those Reapers back. One of them died, but there is one more still alive and well, and it looks like ZoulTX is going to have to defend this with just his queen because the roaches are just not quick enough to keep up with those Reapers, especially with the jetpack upgrade that lets them move a lot quicker. But it looks like he was able to trap it using a queen and a roach. And actually, it looks like we're going to see some roaches moving up to the back entrance for ZoulTX right now. ZoulTX is going to try to take down these rocks, but Strelok, of course, does have a supply depot up here, so he is going to be 100% aware that these rocks are going down and that there are roaches back here, and moving his Marauders and Marines into position, going to be able to push these roaches back. I gotta think, yeah, they can reach over those rocks and have plenty of space to hit those roaches. So, but unfortunately for Strelok, there's nothing at the front of his base right now defending. So if ZoulTX could have gotten a few lings or even a couple of roaches out to the front of that base, he might have been able to break down one entrance or the other, but unfortunately not splitting his forces forced him to back off because he's not able to take down these destructible rocks. Although with the forces of Strelok moving away from this cliff once again, he might be able to sneak in there and do a little bit more damage, but playing a little more conservatively right now, and he doesn't want to lose any roaches, of course, because he did get a somewhat early expansion here, so he is going to want to have as many units on the map as possible so that he can keep this expansion up and running, especially long enough so that he can saturate the mineral line with as many drones as possible, and of course get the advantage for the econ game, which as you can see right now, that advantage is very much in favor of the Terran player Strelok because he does have 10 or actually 11 more harvesters in addition to the ability to use those mules. And it looks like ZoulTX going to move into this ramp here once again and try to take down these destructible rocks. Although there is a large Terran force consisting mostly of Marauders, it looks like, which will have absolutely no problem taking on these poor roaches, which with the concussive shell upgrade, which I believe he does have. No, I'm sorry, he does not yet have it. So these roaches may actually get away. You can see a few of them taking some decent damage there, but without that concussive shell upgrade to slow down the units, he is going to be able to get those units away without too much of a problem at all. And here come the real threat to this Terran infantry army, the speedlings to get the fast around and the banelings. And actually one of my favorite tactics against these Terran infantry armies, if you can spot ahead of time the path that the Terran army is going to take, burrowing some banelings in their path and then detonating them underneath the Terran infantry army as they're moving ahead is absolutely hilarious fun. But it looks like these two armies are just barely going to miss each other. We could possibly see a base race situation here. But it looks like that one spine crawler that was trying to go down for defense is going to get taken out relatively quickly. Meanwhile, though, the Zerg player ZoulTX is moving his units, trying to take out the entrance for Strelok, although he is going to have to take down the supply depot first and trying to let the banelings get up in there so that they can take that down, although I think at this point he might have been able to take it down a little bit quicker if he just would have taken it with his roaches. Already the expansion for ZoulTX going down, and Strelok is moving in right now, going to take down this hatchery as well, I'm sorry, the lair, but there is nothing to defend against this, and there is one lone drone that is going to move over and hide behind behind the high grass here with the destructible rocks blocking his path to get out of this base. And it looks like he is going to try to sneak one drone out the front door, although there are a couple Marines guarding this, and with more reinforcements, actually just it looks like SCVs coming up, but still, they're going to easily be able to spot this drone that's trying to leave, and as you can see, taken down very quickly. But the unfortunate thing right now for Strelok is that there are no anti-air units for him, and even if he manages to take out everything that Strelok has right now, he is not going to be able... Oh my goodness, and Strelok actually leaving the game. I can't believe he just left there because he has plenty of units to take down that Zerg army, I think. So kind of unusual that he actually left that game, and he did have a command center up and running. So I'm not sure if he had some kind of connection issue or something, but anyways, it looks like that win actually going to go to ZoulTX here. So anyways, GG. That was pretty exciting, although I would have liked to see how the base race resolved if it was allowed to play out just a little bit further. But anyways, thanks for watching, guys. GG.